everyone. Today I have a very special guest on the Meliza Show. I'm so honored to have Taylor Rooks, the one and only. Taylor can obviously, she'll speak for herself on these regards, but we can know that she's done so much in the industry, not just within sports. There's so much on her palette and everything that she's done so far. Taylor, how are you?
I'm amazing. Happy to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, honestly, I'm so grateful that we had crossed paths in our journey. And something I alluded to when we spoke previously was just what you've done in your craft in this work in this industry. And I think one of the things that stands out about you is your authenticity, your willingness to support others and just what you've really done for the community of sports, but also women as a whole. And one of the things that I want to quickly tap on is just that journey. What brought you to get to this level of wanting to cover sports or getting to this point?
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you. That's very, very kind. But I mean, sports have just been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. I mean, I'm Southern, so watching football is just a thing that we just kind of live, breathe, and eat down there. My dad was also a football player. My uncle's a football player. My other uncle is a baseball player. So playing sports and just loving sports has been very ingrained in my life. I kind of define a lot of moments through sports. Some of the best times that we've had as a family have had things to do with sporting events. So I don't really know life without sports being like very much so a part of my orbit. But I also knew that I was not going to be some crazy superstar athlete, but I knew that I could talk about the sports. So I took the path of, doing sports journalism. I majored in broadcast journalism when I was in college. I was like blogging, doing different things like that, started doing real work in college, then graduated and was really lucky, fortunate enough to start working for the Big Ten Network. And then I worked at SMY and now I'm doing what I do now. And yeah, it's been a really fun ride, I would say.
Love that. And like I said, it really shines through your authenticity throughout sports, but you capture almost the authenticity of those athletes, of those who you interview as well. When you think about your identity and your interview style, how would you say that came about as you went throughout this pathway?
Yeah, I mean, I am really intentional about trying to make interviews always just be conversations. Uh,
Mhm.
it's the thing that I realized through watching a lot of interviews is that when people feel like they're being interviewed, it changes the way that they speak, it changes the way that they answer, it also changes the way that they will come across. And I think one of the reasons in my interviews people feel comfortable enough to, reveal things or say something they haven't said is because they feel like they're just engaged in a discussion and conversation. And that's also why I don't like to do interviews in things that feel like studios, because your environment plays a really big part
Mhm.
how you are going to answer questions. But I also, when I'm prepping for these interviews, I will watch every interview that the person did so that I can better understand what they will respond to and what they don't respond to. Like, I don't just watch the interviews to get research about them and learn about them. I'm also trying to see their tendencies when they're talking to others about themselves. And I think all of that work just lends to it always feeling authentic, because I always want it to be like a conversation. I approach it like I'm having a conversation with a friend. And that has just really worked the best for me in this work.
No, I love that. It really stands out as I said, and it's noticed across the not just the industry, those in the audience, right? And that's why you've gotten to where you are now. And you mentioned sports in your family, and I think that like having that knowledge and that background has really, had you not been in there, would you say like this was going to be an idea for you when it came to sports? Or would you perhaps want to branch out into something different? Because I know that you're now, tapping into different worlds of the industry within hosting and interviewing as a journalist. But tell me more about where your different, I guess, interests go into.
Yeah, I just think I'm generally interested in people.
Yeah.
And I would like to think that people can watch the interviews that I do in sport and be interested in them, even if they aren't major sports fans,
Hmm.
because I think the thread is about all of the things that we have in common. Like, maybe somebody doesn't know what it's like to win a championship, but they know what it means to accomplish a goal.
Hmm.
They might not know what it means to have like a heartbreaking loss on the court, but they know what it feels like for things to not go your way.
Yes.
It feels like you work so hard for something and it to not pan out. And so I think that sports is just a vehicle and an example of other things that connect human beings, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So I really do view the work more as people work than I do sports work.
Mhm.
And I say like that is something that is applicable through very many mediums. I think that I can interview musical artists because it's a lot of those same threads as just human beings. I could interview just an actor, an entertainer, because there's a lot of those same threads. I could interview a politician. I could interview an everyday person. There's going to be something that people will connect with because it's about the human experience. So I never try to cut myself off from something that doesn't have to do directly with sport, because that's also putting myself in a box that I don't want to be in. I just want to talk to people that have something to say. And I ultimately want to be a multimedia personality. I don't just want you to see me and think about sport. I want you to see me and think about connection and conversation and learning about others through real and meaningful dialogue. So that just stretches through various mediums that I always try my best to at least explore what those look like. Well, of course, kind of keeping the main thing for now, but I want to learn about myself through the work as well.
Absolutely. I'm so aligned with that. I think, the biggest part to any conversation is really just understanding the person. And, you take that time to really just research that, but not only that, really take the moment in the conversation to listen. And listening to one of your interviews in the past as well was listening to the athlete, listening to the person that you're speaking to, the artist, whoever it may be. And you did that with me as well. So I want to, take that time as well to share my appreciation where you're taking the time to listen. You want to understand who that person is. And we go through these journeys and obstacles in life, and we all kind of have our own unique journeys and trying to figure out what we're trying to do, I would say, right? And I think as for myself, a woman in the industry, I've come across some challenges. I've come across some, moments where I almost thought to myself, is this really my pathway or is this for me? Would you say you've had any experiences such as, questioning your positioning and place in the industry as well as what your work is right now?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say, I mean, I first off, I totally understand the feeling of the questioning because I think that there are just systems in place that make you question yourself in your position. Um,
Mhm.
but I don't know if I have necessarily ever questioned it as much as I am very aware that like there are just things and people in place that don't
Mhm.
necessarily want somebody like me in the space.
Got
But
it.
I've always tried my hardest to not let that affect how I'm seeing myself as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think the times that have probably been the most difficult for me in this space was when I very first started out and I had a really hard time with like the internet. I thought that the internet was incredibly important. I thought that what people thought about me was like vital, that I needed every single person online to like the work or see me or think I'm good, whatever. That was something that was really hard for me when I was young and started out. And I would say that in that time, I was like, is this something that I can do? Can I feel so invested in other people's thoughts? But as I kept going and I realized how insignificant it was, like I realized that really the only thing that mattered was if I was good at the job, not someone's opinions on it. Then
Mhm.
it got much better for me. But I would say that the questioning was maybe at that point. But I've always had a very, very, very solid belief that like I was good and that I was doing the thing that I was supposed to be doing. I've always felt really confident in myself, but I'm also just very aware of, like I said, the obstacles that are in place, and just like the societal things that exist, that can make this job very hard.
Wow. No, you really put things in perspective there because you're absolutely right. Like, I think acceptance of the internet or the outer world or those that are watching your content is very much, especially in this industry, you want that piece of, oh, not that everyone wants to like me, or not that I have to have everyone to, double tap and make sure that they're commenting the positive thoughts, because like you said, the internet world is huge. It's almost scary. Anybody can come at you behind a computer or a phone screen. And I think that you really, showcase that you've navigated that through your confidence. And I think confidence is something that comes as you go as an experience, but also due to your environment, your experiences, things and people around you. And when I speak on that, would you say that you've had a piece of support in your family, your relationships, anything in your connections in your human life? How would you describe the support that you've gotten?
Yeah, I mean, that's something I'm so thankful for. Just like my friends are incredibly supportive, my partner is supportive, my family is supportive. Like I get love in all of the ways that I want love. And I'm able to give love in all of the ways that I want to give love. And I know that these are the things that really are the most important. When you're young, it's very hard for you to have that perspective because you are viewing like love as like applause, or your love is people saying that you're doing a good job, or like your love you feel like is being seen, especially in a business like this. It feels like that is what the accomplishment is. It's getting people to like you, but that's not what the accomplishment is. I feel like my personal relationships are the biggest achievements of my life, and those things allow me to be the journalist that I am at work, to be the person that I want to be. And I am a big believer that like who you are outside of your work, especially in media, who you are outside of your work bleeds into the work, like I feel like the reason people are happy to come on the show, or the reason they will accept coming on the show, is because they view me as a genuine and authentic person. But that's only because they see how I move as a human, not just as a journalist and someone in media. So I'm incredibly appreciative of the real, intimate, personal relationships that I have, not just because I'm thankful for them, but because their existence also really does make me better.
Yes, no, I definitely I hear you on that 100%. I definitely feel like opportunities and experiences that have come my way have only been there because of being your authentic self. And like I keep saying, that's something you show. And these different highlights and experiences that you've had in your journey, would you pinpoint, and there's so many, and there's definitely probably going to be a difficult time choosing one, but is there a highlight of your career so far that you would say is like your favorite moment, or one that like really like had you feel the jitters and that spark inside of you? Any favorite highlights or moments that you want to call out?
I mean, I would say so. I got to interview Barack Obama for like 8 minutes. It was super quick, but it was on Zoom, and it was when his book was coming out. They wanted him to do 4 quick interviews with like people online. So I think it was me, Tracy Ellis Ross, Hannah Bronfman, and one other person I can't remember. But we each got our own like 8 minutes with him or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and I will just never forget. I was sitting in my office, and like I opened up the computer screen, and it's just Barack Obama saying, "Hi, Taylor." And so that was a really cool moment that I was really proud of. And it was just also cool too, because what I have always said in this, as I've been in this business, is that I want sports to be what I do, but I want to do other things. So the
Hmm.
fact that his team or whoever was, compiling these things said, "Okay, you should talk to Taylor. I know she does sports, but this is somebody that you should talk to." It really made me feel good that they saw the work that I did as something like worthy enough to talk to Barack Obama. So that was
Mhm.
that was a really cool moment for me for sure.
Love that. There's so many people, youth and adults that look up to you, and you're really an inspiration, especially to, someone like myself. And as a young woman or girl or anybody in the industry who's trying to navigate, is there a piece of advice that you would give your younger self that could, annotate and reflect towards someone who looks up to you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, one piece of advice would be very specific about who you take advice from, because when I was in college, not every professor, I have professors that I absolutely love.
Yeah.
And not that I dislike the professors that I'm naming now, but there was this need to almost have this one size fits all approach to the students.
Hmm.
So everyone was kind of told that like you had to start off in a really small market, and then hopefully you would continue to like go up in these markets. And then when you're 50 years old, you were going to be on, hopefully on the national level. Like everybody was kind of told this path.
Yeah.
So they're almost like putting you in this box without even realizing it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just really important to know who you are and know that your path can't necessarily be told to you. If you think that you're in a space to, start on a regional level or a national level or whatever, that's the thing that you should attack. But you shouldn't fulfill your path based on what everyone else's path looks like around you. So like, I just think knowing who you are is really, really, really important, and not being influenced by others who don't know you like you know yourself is what I would say. And they also teach what journalism looks like. And I feel like my career didn't really open up until I stopped acting like a journalist and I started acting like me.
Yes.
And like when I think about growing up, all the sports personalities I liked, when I think about all the sports personalities I like now, I like them because they are themselves, not because they are super like straight laced and don't add their personality to things. Like they are. But again, in school, you're taught that that's what you're supposed to do. And
Yeah.
I don't know if professors always understand that this is such a changing world, and what people want to hear and see is so different now.
Yeah.
So just know who you are, because no one is going to know you like you know you.
Oof. Amen. That I mean, I need to take a moment for that one. That is honestly the best piece of advice that anybody could hear, especially trying to find a name for themselves in anything that they do. So, and I definitely agree. I think like the school system is just it's super difficult, right? Like it's you're trying to learn something, you're trying to learn a craft in an industry, but you're almost restricted to what someone else knows. But like you said, there are a handful of professors that do know and do share great knowledge and advice to what you want to know and hear. But then there's also moments where, to your point, just be yourself and it'll really take you there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. I was going to say, what's up next for you, Taylor? What are we looking forward to? Is there something that, you want to highlight in the next step of your journey? I know there's so many things on the way, and just would be curious to know what's going on next.
Yeah, I have my second season of Thursday Night Football coming up, which is going to be a really good time. Yeah, Vikings Eagles is our first game, week 2, I think September like 14th or 16th, whichever one of those two is a Thursday. Is when the
Probably
game.
tomorrow, because the way time is flying, it feels feels like September is tomorrow already. But yes.
Yeah, so I have that coming up. I am shooting a new commercial, which I'm excited about. I can't say what it is, but I'm shooting a commercial coming out. Obviously still episodes that are always coming out with my long form interview show on Bleacher Report. So really just football. It's all football right now. I'm about to lose a lot of time in my schedule when the season begins, but it's very exciting. No complaints.
You know what? You're always going. And I think that's a uniqueness to this industry as well. But oh my gosh, I was supposed to wrap this up, but I'm just so curious. Your time management, you do so well at it. You just named like 20 different things and different aspects. Tell me more about how you manage your time.
Well, I am a very big list girl. Like I have lists. So on my calendar and stuff, it isn't even always just where I am or what I have to do that day. It's like literal tasks that I have, like send this email, like set up mean dog sitting. Like I have like my list of
Too.
and schedule. Yeah. And there is no greater feeling than like deleting something on your list. I love when I have days that I got all the things done, and so it's blank. That is something that really like keeps me going to get the tasks done. Because when I sit down to relax for the night, I want to know I did everything that I was supposed to do that day.
Yeah.
So time management and like scheduling is something that's very, very, very important to me.
Oh my gosh, so important. And I think like, you name certain things that have not only you accomplished in your world, you've also shared so much that someone else has probably picked up as they've watched you go along this journey. And, I think one of the biggest things to call out is just not only your authenticity, not only the way in which you carry yourself, it's the way in which you do things. And that's something that, again, I'm so honored to have been able to witness growing up in this industry. I've been able to really just reflect on what it is to be someone who's working alongside people who've been here and have done that. And you really, again, everything that you've been doing has been an inspiration to so many of us. I'm so excited to see where you take yourself in this journey, and I'm happy to, be here on the sidelines to continue cheering you on and watch you get there. And thank you so much again for your time, for speaking with me and being on the Meliza Show.
Thank you. No, you are so kind. That means the world to me. And like, I mean it when I say this is my favorite part of the job. I love meeting women in this business. I love hearing what everybody's journey, what they want to accomplish, and what they like to do and things like that. So I feel very honored that I was able to be on your show, and I am rooting for you as well and looking forward to seeing everything that you do too.
Thank you so much, Taylor. That means so much. We'll save the tears for after we stop recording. And then we'll chat soon. Thank you so much again for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day. Congratulations to everything, and have a great rest of your summer.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. You too.